Greystone's annual Halloween festival was a highlight of the year. Townsfolk filled the square, costumes bright and elaborate, jack-o'-lanterns glowing eerily in the chilly autumn air. Amongst the revelry, whispers of an old legend danced through the crowds, the tale of the Pumpkin Carver. He was said to stalk Halloween nights, his mask a grotesque, carved pumpkin lit from within. The legend claimed he lured victims with charm before butchering them, carving their faces into pumpkins as trophies. Laura, Jake, Mia, and Tony were outsiders, college friends who'd heard about Greystone's festivities and decided to spend the night in the quaint town. "It's just a creepy story," Jake declared, laughing as they wandered the pumpkin patch. "Every small town has one." Laura wasn't so sure. She had felt eyes on her all evening, shadows shifting just out of view. As the group admired the intricate jack-o'-lanterns, a local vendor approached. His face was pale, his voice trembling. "Best get home early, kids. The Carver doesn't like to be mocked." Tony rolled his eyes. "Relax, Grandpa. It's Halloween. Live a little." As night deepened, the streets emptied. Jake suggested a shortcut through the corn maze back to their hotel. Despite Laura's protests, they ventured in, the stalks towering and oppressive. Laughter echoed, but it wasn't theirs. The sound of metal scraping against stone silenced them. "Who's there?" Jake called, his voice faltering. A figure emerged, a hulking man wearing a pumpkin mask, candlelight flickering from within. In his hand was a serrated blade, glinting in the moonlight. "Run!" Laura screamed, but it was too late. The Carver lunged, his blade slashing across Jake's stomach. Blood sprayed, painting the corn red. Mia froze, screaming as the Carver dragged Jake's limp body into the shadows. Tony grabbed Laura, pulling her deeper into the maze. "We have to get out of here." He panted, but the path twisted endlessly, the sound of their pounding hearts drowning out all else. Behind them, the Carver's haunting laugh echoed, growing louder with each step. They stumbled into a clearing, panting and disoriented. A large, decaying barn loomed ahead. Its wooden doors creaked open as if beckoning them inside. "We can hide," Tony urged. Inside, the stench of rotting flesh hit them like a wave. Rows of pumpkins lined the walls, their grotesque carvings lit by flickering candles. Each face was twisted in agony, too lifelike to be mere decoration. Laura's stomach churned as she recognized Jake's face carved into a fresh pumpkin, his hollow eyes staring back at her. Mia whimpered, clutching Laura's arm. "We have to go," she hissed. The door slammed shut. The Carver stepped from the shadows, his knife dripping with fresh blood. "You've seen my work," he growled, his voice distorted by the hollow pumpkin mask. "Now, you'll become part of it." Tony charged him with a rusted shovel, but the Carver sidestepped with eerie speed, plunging his blade into Tony's thigh. Tony screamed as he collapsed, blood pooling around him. "Stop!" Laura begged, tears streaming down her face. "Why are you doing this?" The Carver tilted his head, the candle inside his mask casting flickering shadows. "Art demands sacrifice," he said simply. Grabbing Mia, he slammed her onto a crude wooden table covered in bloodstains. She thrashed, her screams piercing the air, but the Carver's strength was overwhelming. He raised his knife high, carving deep into her chest as Laura watched in horror. Blood sprayed across the room, the wet, sickening sound of flesh tearing filling her ears. Fueled by desperation, Laura grabbed the broken shovel and drove it into the Carver's back. He roared in pain, stumbling and dropping his knife. "Run, Laura!" Tony groaned, clutching his leg. Laura grabbed Tony, dragging him toward a hidden ladder leading to the barn's loft. Below, the Carver thrashed, pulling the shovel from his back, his laughter echoing in the night. The loft was a dead end, filled with tools and rotting hay. Laura barricaded the trapdoor with a barrel, but it wouldn't hold for long. Tony's face was pale, his leg gushing blood. "We're not making it out," he wheezed. "Don't say that," Laura snapped, searching for a weapon. She found a rusted scythe, its blade dull but heavy. The trapdoor splintered as the carver's masked face appeared, his knife gleaming. "Nowhere left to run," he crooned. Laura gripped the scythe, adrenaline drowning her fear. As the carver climbed through, she swung with all her strength. The blade sank into his shoulder, but he barely flinched. With inhuman strength, he ripped it free and lunged. Tony tackled him, knocking them both through the loft floor. They crashed into the pumpkins below, shards of wood and glass flying. Laura descended, scythe in hand, finding the carver dazed but alive. With a scream, she brought the scythe down on his mask, splitting it open. The pumpkin shattered, revealing a pale, scarred face twisted in fury. He grabbed her throat, squeezing as her vision blurred. Tony crawled behind him, driving the broken shovel into his chest. The carver gasped, his grip loosening. Laura grabbed his knife, plunging it into his heart. Blood poured from his chest as he collapsed, his laugh finally silenced. They stumbled into the night, covered in blood, as sirens approached. The police found the barn and the grotesque pumpkins, but the carver's body was gone. Weeks later, Laura awoke to a knock at her door. A pumpkin sat on her porch, carved with her screaming face. A note inside read, "Art never dies."